Wilderness Beckoning by Elton Thomas. Beneath the budding dawn, I left the gates of home in peace, determined that the open wild would grant my soul release. My pack was light upon my back, my spirit full of fire, certain that each brand new sight would lift my heart yet higher. The dew on grass, the gleam on leaves, the hush before the sun. All these small wonders wrapped me close, a journey just begun. I heard the far-off rivers call, an echo softly clear, a glimmering enticement for my curious mind to steer. The wind, a gentle guide at first, caressed my eager face, and in its breath I caught a hint of hidden mystic grace. I told myself, this trackless path was destiny's design, that even should I wander far, the guiding star would shine. Each step became a lively tune beneath the forest boughs, as though the earth bestowed a boon, received by solemn vows. The slope grew steep, yet onward still, my footsteps never slowed, for wonder's voice rang in my ears and bright ambition glowed. I dreamt of capturing the scent of ancient pine and moss, envisioned vistas no one knew, beyond each ridge I'd cross. My heart beat fast with sweet delight, my lungs with crisp air filled. With innocence I pressed ahead, by every marvel thrilled. Through brambles thick, through nettles sharp, I chased the morning beam. I glimpsed a hawk upon the wing, a guardian of heights supreme. Its shadow danced beneath the clouds that crowned the distant view. A hush of awe swelled in my chest, as though the world was new. I felt a vow deep in my bones to learn the forest's code, to hear the language of the trees, the voice in streams that flowed. A deer appeared in cautious grace beneath a hazel limb. I froze in silent reverence, my every sense grown dim. In bounding leaps it left my sight, dissolving in the shade, yet wonder lingered in my heart, an imprint that it made. I pressed ahead with brimming hope, no fear in any bone, the hush of nature in my ears, as though I walked alone. A single thought of boundless joy propelled me farther still, not sensing the encroaching dusk that soon would test my will. The noon grew bright, the shadows long, yet I felt no alarm. And in that moment, naively sure, I trusted nature's charm. By midday's glare I found myself in valleys thick with pine, where every step led deeper still, no trail I could divine. My map was meaningless out here, my thirst began to rise, but fascination spurred me on, ignoring all disguise. A meadow swayed with scarlet buds that spread like painted art. I lay among them for a time, content in mind and heart. I didn't see the sun descend or hear the hush of night, until I woke to twilight's grip, a quickened pulse of fright. 1,000 shapes of dusky leaves blurred every winding track. My certainty of safe return was lost in looming black. A tremor settled in my breath. I stumbled through the dark. The breeze that once felt friendly now unleashed a hostile bark. Each rustling branch could mask a threat. Each shadow seemed alive. And suddenly the forest was a cage from which to strive. I fought to keep my reason clear, but panic held me tight. The sweet romance of earlier hours dissolved in feral night. At last I found a shallow creek. I waded through the chill, then climbed a bank, my body numb, awaiting dawn's first thrill. The night was endless, every sound a sign of something dire. My ration bag was running low, my hope began to tire. Yet pressing on was all I could, for staying meant defeat. I braved the darkness step by step, refusing to retreat. The wind cut cold across my face, my heart pounded with dread. I wondered if I'd meet the dawn or vanish here instead. No guiding lamp shone through the pines, no comforting abode. And still I trudged, a hapless soul on nature's hidden road. A slip on moss, a tumble hard, I gasped in sudden pain. I found a log to huddle by while silence roared insane. Remembering my mother's voice, my father's steady gaze, I swore I'd see their faces yet, survive these savage days. When dawn arrived with timid glow, I roused my aching limbs. My battered pride and hungry gut turned prayers to wisp-thin hymns. The eastward light revealed the path or some vague thread of it. Though fear still choked my weary thoughts, I forced myself to commit. At dawn's renewal, stiff and sore, I left my meager nook. My thirst a fire inside my throat, no rest my body took. A stream's faint gurgle drew me near. I drank to ease the burn, then splashed my cheeks. a fragile hope that clarity might return. I followed slopes that seemed to lead toward an open plain, but every track was swallowed up by branches thick with rain. The canopy above me wove a labyrinth of pine, each trunk a silent witness to my stumbling decline. With hunger gnawing at my gut, I searched for anything. A fruit, a berry, sign of life to quell the pang's sharp sting. Yet caution shadowed every choice, for danger often hides. In what appears a gift of grace, the desperate heart provides. Still, I found a patch of berries, praying they were safe. Their sweetness gave a fleeting strength, enough my fear to chafe. The day wore on, the sun dipped low, no guiding help I spied, and once again, the coming dusk left no place safe to hide. That second night was rough and raw. I built a feeble flame, its flicker cast uncertain shapes, all wearing fear's dark name. Beyond the circle of my light, I sensed a watchful hush. My breath was shallow, hard on edge as though trapped in a crush. A shape with antlers crossed the gloom, then vanished in a blink. I couldn't tell if beast or ghost could snatch me on the brink. Exhaustion closed my aching eyes. I sank to restless sleep, where nightmares churned of winding trails and howling shadows deep. At dawn's first hint, I wakened stiff, my body starved and sore, resolved that if I gave in now, I'd never see my door. I swallowed fear and staggered on, a vow etched in my mind, to reach the borders of the wild, some hope I had to find. And as I labored through the brush, my senses roused again. The simplest rustle, screech, or snap awoke a primal strain. But something in my spirit burned, a bold survival spark. It guided me through creeping vines and hollows cold and stark. By midday's glare, my energy was nearly stripped away. The bright expanse of endless green had turned a duller gray. No sign of farmland or of roads to carry me to rest. I questioned every choice I'd made. My boldness felt a jest. I discovered a clearing wide, a ring of stones around, in which I scoured the brambly edges for fruit upon the ground. A handful of wild berries there sustained me for a while. The hawk's keen cry again I heard, far overhead in style. It soared in arcs across the blue, a silhouette of grace. I wished that I could claim its view from some celestial place. The day slipped on. I pressed beyond the forest cunningly, unfolded labyrinthine paths that coiled to capture me. With dusk descending once again, I found no place to roam, and felt the forest's savage might subdue me in its dome. Yet forging on was all I had, no rescue near in sight. I told myself that hope could rise if I endured the night. The creeping dark at last unrolled, my meager fire's glow, kept biting cold at bay a bit, yet left me lodged in woe. A crack of twig in shadows near tore at my thinning nerve. I thought of family waiting far, the warmth I must preserve. A horned silhouette or antler shape roamed just outside the flame, then disappeared, a silent threat that had no face or name. Fatigue broke through my iron hold. At times I drifted off, returning to a childhood dream, to fields of sun-soaked croft. But morning's chill awoke me soon, a jolt of spiky dread. My scarce supplies were running low, a hunger raged unfed. No further time for tears or shock, I had to push ahead. Survival was my single aim. I forced aside all dread. The forest once admired for its wonder now felt grim, yet I was changed. A fiercer will had kindled in each limb. I vowed to climb the steepest rise to glimpse a world beyond, for in that vantage maybe lay the path that I had spawned. On hands and knees I scaled a cliff, each crevice small and slick. The mountainside showed me no pity, each step a gamble quick. My breath came harsh, my bones were sore, yet up I had to go, until at last I reached the crest, a vantage wide below. A valley spread in smoky hues. I thought I saw a road, or maybe it was just a rill where shimmering waters flowed. But even that faint chance of hope stirred something in my heart. I chose to trek the slope again, though every muscle smart. Downhill was risky business too. The gravel slid and broke. I clung to roots and boulders slick, each slip a lethal joke. Exhaustion weighed on every step. I prayed I'd reach the plain, though day was fading toward the west and twilight drew its train. At last a battered track appeared beneath the gathering gloom. The sign of human presence cast a spark within my doom. I followed it through twisted brush, until in shadow's hush, a wooden bridge across a stream emerged from out the crush. The bridge was old, its boards decayed, the water roiled beneath, but proof of humankind shone there, a buoy for my teeth. I steeled myself, advancing slow, each board a brittle trap, yet inch by inch I passed across, ignoring every gap. The opposite bank met my feet with farmland open wide. I nearly buckled from relief, a wild joy to abide. A fence line rose against the fields, a house with candle glow. I mustered all remaining grit, across that stretch to go. A gentle face at weathered door beheld my ragged state. She drew me in with urgent care, no question of my fate. A bowl of broth, a crust of bread, her kindness paved my calm. I shared a glimpse of all I'd faced. She blessed me with no qualm. She lent me shelter for the night, then gave a worn-out map, which marked a route toward home at last, releasing me from trap. I left her cabin grateful, though my legs still weak and raw, embracing dawn with fresher eyes on every grassy draw. The farmland blurred with hamlets small, the roads led on, but each new step away from gloom felt like a precious dawn. I'd stir at whiffs of forest pine, a jolt of memory, yet comfort rose in seeing signs of simpler company. The clash of nature's savage side had tamed my cocky pride. The same fierce wind that brought me fear now fanned a calmer guide. A farmer's cart gave me a ride through villages asleep, where dreamlike rooftops flared with sun, the warmth a solace deep. He set me down near country roads that curved among the vines. I recognized the distant hills, my father's orchard lines. My heart soared high, anticipating joys that soon would flow. I quickened pace, a pilgrim near the place I used to know. At last the oak trees lined the lane, familiar to my eyes. Their arching limbs recalled my youth where wonder used to rise. The gate I left so long ago stood chipped and leaning still. I paused to gather breath and tears, uncertain of my will. Here once I'd set off gallantly, my bag with bold intent. Now battered back, I prayed the love of home had never bent. I pushed the gate. It moaned a bit, the yard a silent friend. Memories flooded all at once, too rich for me to fend. Upon the porch my mother stood, tears shining like the sun. I sank into her open arms. She asked what I had done. My father soon appeared behind, relief across his face. He led me in, a blazing hearth dispelling all disgrace. I told them pieces of my tale. They wrapped me in their calm, as if to share my battered heart was all the needed balm. Within those walls of weathered oak, I felt the forest still, its gloom at night, its hush at dawn, that merciless raw thrill. A calmer hush, though, cushioned me, for now I wasn't lost. And in my family's teary gaze, I saw love's boundary crossed. My siblings hovered, half in awe, uncertain how to speak. I felt a bond to younger me, so wide, so safe, so meek. The nights that followed gave me rest. The fever of my fear subsided in the warmth of home, the edges crystal clear. Yet somewhere, in the solitude of dreams, the forest roamed, a testament to nature's might that once had nearly domed. I told my father not to worry. Yes, I'd learned the cost of underestimating Earth, its labyrinth I'd crossed. I kept a memory of those days to guide me in my life, the synergy of wonder's gift and perils cold as knife. I rose each morning to the sun that gilded orchard rose, its gentle heat a healing touch, erasing savage throes. The forest calls across the miles, I feel it in my bones. A part of me was forged by nights among those haunted stones. No longer do I cling to blind illusions of the wild. I hold respect and cautious awe, my spirit reconciled. Yet still, I sense an ember bright, that yearns for forest gloom, aware that mortal hearts can thrive on edges of the tomb. I've learned that terror's bitter taste can shape a kinder soul, and pride must yield to reverence if we would stay whole. The road that leads us back to hearth holds wonders of its own, for being lost can show the way our truths stand yet unknown. Thus ends my story, long and fraught with fear, yet born of zeal, a dance between the fragile heart and forests that can heal. From wonder's spark to gloom's cold grip, to final hope's embrace, I found a humbler, wiser self returning to this place. In every leaf and towering pine, in every dawn's bright call, there stirs a lesson. We are small, and nature shelters all. Home's shining hearth now warms my bones, the wilderness my mind. I stand at peace between the two, both gentle and unkind. So keep my tale within your thoughts when wandering abroad. Though wonder waits in trackless wilds, humility is God. And if you lose your way at night, recall this guiding spark. A heart that hopes can conquer fear and stumble past the dark.